This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. We're going all the way back to Tokyo today. Tall buildings, lots of people, lots of lights, and it takes a lot of power to light them up. So we're going to be talking about King of Tokyo Power Up. This is the expansion for basically the second edition of this expansion. Has some of the newer monsters, has all the old monsters, basically replaces the old expansion. So let me show you a little bit about this and I'll talk about it more on the other side. Just like the original power-up, this one also comes with a new character called Pandai. And so, yes, you get to use this in the game. And for those of you just curious of what this looks like compared to the older version of this Pandai, there's a difference. The top is the older version, first edition of Power-Up, and here's the new one with the new art. I actually like this better, the eyes, and I just think the newer one actually looks a lot cooler. Now, each of the 9 monsters included here come with 8 evolution cards. Now, note that Cyber Bunny is from the first edition, so you can play with this this expansion with the first edition because that's what Cyber Bunny was in, but it was replaced by Cyber Kitty in the second edition, so this expansion can be used in either edition. Same with the Kraken was the first edition, was no longer in the second edition, but you can play with that with this expansion. Same with Space Penguin was a new character in the new edition. And so regardless of whether you have first or second edition King of Tokyo, you can just buy the second edition of Power Up and you're good either way. So here's 2 cards for the King. Again, they all come with 8 cards. 4 of them will be permanent abilities and the other 4 will be temporary abilities. Now how do these work? Well, anytime you resolve 3 or more hearts, you get to still gain the hearts on your monster like normal, but you get to draw 2 cards off the top of your deck that has your evolution cards on them. They look like that in the back. You'll pick one, you'll discard one, and you'll keep the other one secret, and then you can play it. And they get played at certain times. Like the King is all about going into Tokyo. So permanent evolution was Twas Beauty Killed the Beast. Play when you're in Tokyo and you gain 1 point at the end of each monster's turn, including yours, but then you discard it and lose all your points if you leave Tokyo. So you're going there and you're just gonna hang on. Really cool ability. Some of them are temporary. If you yield Tokyo, meaning you leave, you do not lose hearts and you can't lose hearts this turn. So, and again, so some of them have permanent abilities, some of them have temporary abilities, but you also get the hearts and then you get to draw one and play it when you want to. I'm basically going to show you my favorite permanent and temporary from the different monsters. This one, for Gigazord, the permanent is monsters you attack all lose 1 star, and temporary says that you discard evolution to take no damage this turn. For the Kraken, on the permanent ability, you get to roll a die for each heart that you lost, and then you don't lose a heart for each heart that you rolled. On the temporary side, you play when you take control of Tokyo, and all other monsters lose 2 hearts. Cyber Kitty, the permanent, is the Meow Missile. If you roll at least a number 1, you add a hit to your roll. Catnip, on temporary, when you play at the start of your turn, you don't get to reroll, but you get to double all that's there. Now for Mecha Dragon, now the game does come with a handful of tokens. Some of them get used with different monsters. Here is a token with basically an aim on it. And when a monster makes you lose a heart with a claw, you can give them this target. And then the monster that has a target loses an extra heart each time you make them lose a heart. So basically they're targeted. And for temporary, the Mecha Blast, each monster you make lose a heart with your claw loses 2 extra. For Alienoid, it comes with these 3 tokens. You put it on top of the card, and basically when you want to swipe or wipe the deck of the power cards, you can wipe it and get rid of one of these. Once they're all gone, then the card's gone. Basically allows you free wipes of the power cards. For a temporary, you get to gain an energy every heart that you lose this turn. The Space Penguin, on the permanent side, you get to spend an energy, and you get to choose one of the dice. That dice was frozen because it's encased in ice, and it stays that way until it's your turn again, so everyone's stuck with it being on that side. On the temporary side, you get to look at the top 3 power cards and basically get it for free and play it in front of you. For Pandai, basically for permanent, if you roll a 1, 2, 3 heart claw, basically like 1 of a kind, 6 of a kind, you get to gain 2 and take another turn, which is huge, taking another turn. Temporary is you gain 6 energy and all other matches give it 3. Now with the Cyber Bunny, the permanent is someone that you make lose hearts. While you're in Tokyo, essentially they have to lose an extra heart unless they give you an energy. On the temporary side, you can't lose hearts this turn with the Rabbit's Foot. That's it for the cards. I've showed you most of the tokens, and that's pretty much what comes in this expansion. All right, well, there is King of Tokyo power-ups. Now, I had reviewed this before, and I'm going to talk to you about that in just a moment. But this is the second edition, and so the cool thing about this is that it does allow you to buy this version, and you can play it with either first edition or second edition, because there were those changes of monsters. You know, the Kraken's not in the second edition, Cyber Bunny is out, but they included all of the newer ones, plus the extra monster like they did before with Pandai. They added the ability to play with the power-ups with the newer characters like Space Penguin and Cyber Kitty, which is cool, but they also have the cards in there for the older ones. So that's cool, it's backwards compatible, so regardless of which version of King of Tokyo you have, if you don't yet have power-ups, get this one and it will work with it. I can't imagine anybody already owning, needing to buy this if they already have power-ups. I'd say the only reason I could see that happening is if someone had both editions of King of Tokyo and they wanted to get the power-ups for the newer monsters like Space Penguin, for example. But that would be the only reason why you would need it. Otherwise, if you already got power-ups, there's no real reason to get this. But it's great. The expansion itself, I've always loved it because without it, it's just you got a monster that looks different from everybody else, and that's it. Where this brings the item of everyone is individual. Everyone has their own little abilities. Everyone can do something special, and I really love that. It makes games more engaging, makes it more fun picking your monster, and it's really fun as you're and plus, as you're rolling for hearts, hey, you get an additional thing, including the hearts. You get to get one of those evolution cards that you get to choose permanent or temporary, depending on what's there, and you get to choose that card and play it when you need to play it. And I like that. I've always loved evolutions. It's one of those things that I always play with the power-up evolution cards pretty much every time I play King of Tokyo, unless I'm teaching a new player, because usually we're playing King of Tokyo with people that aren't that much into board games. And so if I've already played it with them once, then after that I'll put the cards in because they're not hard to understand, and it makes the game much more fun and much more engaging. So if you have King of Tokyo and you haven't yet gotten the power-ups, this power-up expansion, it's a no-brainer. If you like it, you're gonna love it. It's gonna make the game that much better. It doesn't add that much more complexity. You're only looking at one or two cards at a time. It makes all the monsters feel very different. And so yeah, it's absolutely no-brainer. If you like King of Tokyo, this is the one to get, and regardless of which version you have, this one's got you covered, and that's the new second edition of King of Tokyo power-ups.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for backing me on Kickstarter and making this season become a reality. I'd like to especially thank those here that have backed me at the credit level. Now, these video reviews are also available by audio on our podcast. It's the intros and the final thoughts on GameBoyGeek.com. Click podcast.